Welcome back to another edition of the Hoopers Almanac. It is late. It is 10:40 on a Monday night, and we just watched the national championship of Houston, Florida in men's college basketball. Crazy ending to that, but that's like 10 minutes of our open, and then we're also going to dive into our final four-team chicken bucket that I just want someone to sponsor it if it's possible. But it's four phenomenal Western Conference teams, four teams surging
Ending with a bang.
Ending with a bang. Yes. Surging in the right direction. As we go into the final week of the NBA season, which Adam, it's crazy. It's going to be our first full regular season done together. So it'll be crazy ending to that. So, but before we get into it, let's bring in our friends from Green Top. Adam, the Florida Gators are national champions in men's college basketball. The UConn Huskies are national champions in women's college basketball. First, did you make a bracket, and how far did you have Florida? And if you did not make a bracket this year?
No, I've retired from bracket making 2 years ago. I said, I don't.
Did you hate fun?
I don't watch this stuff. I'm not going to pretend like I'm an expert. I mean, although I did tell somebody, they're like, man, because they're trying to get me, one of the people at school. They're like, oh, let's do a big bracket thing. Like, there's a bunch of faculty in it, and I'm like, they're like, oh, the basketball coaches, they'd love to do it. And one of them asked me, and I was just like, I'm probably not the person to ask. Like, I don't really watch that stuff, but I actually was kind of like, that might be more beneficial though. Like when I did really care about it, I like overthought these matchups. Like, oh, I watched this team twice. Like they could do this, and they may upset this guy, and like this year, I actually would have just been like, I'm picking just straight chalk, like zero upsets. And I actually
this would have been the year to do it
very well. Yes. So maybe I do that next year. I don't know. But no, I'm just kind of like, I know it's just like fun. It's like, some people pick based on like taking nicknames and all that stuff, and they end up doing quite well. But a lot of the ones I got invited to were like $50 buy-ins and all that stuff. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm not like, I don't want to waste $50 on this.
No, I don't blame you, especially for those ones when you're like, I don't know anything about the landscape of the sport right now, and I don't blame you. I only did one with work, and then I did one with family, which the one with family ends up where our dads just all the uncles and dads just end up paying for our buy-in. So but it's like $10, so it's not like crazy. And it ends up being just a meal supplied from Emos for the winter. So it's a fun time, but I have always treated it like it, especially in college, it was like a weekend for all my college buddies just to get together and be absolutely debaucherous watching college basketball, especially that opening weekend. After that, it's just like I'll catch whatever's on whenever it's on. Like the Final Four games, we had a wedding down in your neck of the woods in Kyle, and I did not watch a single second of the Final Four games live. I watched the Duke game back, especially just how crazy that ended, but I did not watch a single second of either of those games live, and it's kind of crazy. But yeah, tonight's game was a lot of fun. Florida ends up winning against Houston. Houston can't get a shot off in the last two possessions, Adam.
The last two possessions, yeah.
And in the last possession being, I don't know how to describe it or what the right adjective would be for it, but in a much more shocking fashion. Because you brought it up. What was like the move was to do the pump fake and to do the side step left and get the better.
Yeah. I mean, to set the scene for, I guess, anybody who didn't see it, if you're listening to this basketball podcast, I'm sure most people did, but if you didn't, Houston's up most of the game. They actually got a 12-point lead early in the second half. I think it was 42-30. At one point was their biggest lead, and I think it was like an 18-6 run. We're tied at 48. It was back and forth pretty much the rest of the way from there, but Houston was actually up one late, and then Florida got fouled in that one possession. Guy makes both free throws, so it's a 1-point lead. Houston has the ball down one, and this is the play where it's Sharp at both times, but Sharp drives like into heavy traffic, ball gets deflected, hits his knee out of bounds. So Florida gets the ball back. They almost turn it over. That like lobbed pass that went towards the
Crazy.
sideline was like, what are you doing? And that guy chases down at the last second and gets fouled. So he goes to the line. He splits it. So it's a 2-point lead for Florida. I think about 19 seconds left. Houston comes down. Florida defends a couple pick and rolls pretty well, but they actually get us, little screens. So Sharp pops out top of the key. He catches and he's like just kind of goes into his motion, like just like automatically without even really looking at the defense. And Clayton, to be fair, is a great closeout. He's flying at him. But no, if Sharp just stays calm, pump fake, sidestep, he's gonna have a very clean look from three. Like, I mean, literally an open three to win the national championship, which would have been incredible.
Yeah.
So I wish they would have gotten a shot. That's just like more fun than what happened. So he like realizes it. He like throws the ball down. Obviously can't touch it, so he backs up. It's just like this very awkward ending. The ball just kind of bounces a couple times. That Florida guy jumps on it, and then time expires. So Florida national champs. So yeah, kind of a strange ending. A very college basketball ending, to be fair.
Yeah.
So the final 3 points are 3 free throws, and then 2 turnovers for Houston. But hey, it was an entertaining game. I mean, I will give them that. A couple too many reviews. I'm really glad I didn't start it on time. I caught up live with I think like 4:30 left in the game. So worked out very well. Had some great dinner. Watched an episode of The Studio on Apple TV Plus, which is
it?
Been enjoyable.
Okay.
It's I like it. It's kind of unique. But shout out to Seth Rogen, who I get told at drive-through lines that I look like sometimes, especially when my beard is longer. But that's what I did. But I was able to watch the whole game. So I actually did watch all 3 Final Four games for both men's and women's. I just watched them recorded. I'm not watching these live. I was with friends for the Duke game. I did watch that with some friends. But yeah, and some of them are Houston people, or they're all Houston people, and a couple of them have good friends that went to Houston, and I do too. So I was kind of rooting for Houston all weekend, but ultimately don't really care about the outcome that much. But it was fun. It was a fun game.
How busy was your hometown this weekend?
Oh, very. I live not too far from downtown and kind of that whole area. Not quite Alamo Dome side, but yeah, kind of close to just north of downtown. And it is, it was certainly busy. I saw the blimp, the Charles Barkley blimp like multiple times.
Yeah.
I was driving to Whataburger today for lunch. I saw it multiple times. And yeah, so no, it certainly felt like a huge event was here. It was pretty cool. I thankfully was able to avoid some of the traffic from down there, but my girlfriend's parents live like right by the Alamo Dome, and they said it was pretty nuts. So yeah, definitely. It's always fun to have big events like that here, and people kind of come in. And I'm sure, the bar scene was great, for people who kind of went out and stuff like that. But it's always cool to have something like that here and have people kind of descend down. And it was cool to have the overhead shots of like the Alamo Dome from outside, like during the broadcast. I'm like, oh yeah, like right there is where like I know someone who lives right there, and I know my place is not too far from there. So that's always fun.
Jesus,
and I have a ton of kids that I coach that went to the game.
That'd be awesome. Just to even have that opportunity to go. So we were flying back Sunday morning. So this is after the Final Four games. And there was this group of guys who were flying back. I guess they had rented a car from San Antonio and drove to Austin that morning to fly out. Reminder, this is a 6:15 a.m. flight. Brutal. And they, I guess, got separated from part of their group. And one of the guys was in line in front of us who was separated, and they were all shouting at him like, "Oh my God, we found him!" I guess he got lost in the night, and he's like, "Well, at least we found him." And I'm like, "Is there just more of your group missing?" And I'm like, "Did someone get left in San Antonio?"
Were they fans of a particular team?
I'll say this: they looked like Duke guys. Okay. I'll just say they look like Duke guys.
It's trending that they're probably Duke guys. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. They were. Yeah. They looked pissed. They looked hungover, and they did not look happy with how the evening went for them. And so they were. It was just clear. I'm like, this would be that's just a weekend of it's a boys' weekend where you're going to San Antonio and you're going to go watch the Final Four games, and you're just going to go probably too crazy for the entire weekend, and that sounds like no fun right now.
Yeah, well, this because you were down close to us, but you had beautiful weather this weekend too, so you couldn't have asked for a better kind of weather weekend for a big event like this.
Opposite in Kyle, it was rainy and it was windy in Kyle all weekend.
Really? Yeah, no, we had.
Oh my gosh,
Friday did rain a bit, but it was, but that was about it.
Saturday was just crazy. We had to make Home Depot. Evan had to make Home Depot runs to go get stuff to put like sand in rocks down to make sure nothing was blowing away at the
Wow.
wedding. It was an outdoor wedding, and so that was
Ah,
that
well,
was
okay,
was
yeah.
crazy. So still a lot of fun though. Anything else in the national championship?
Yeah, no, it was enjoyable. But it's always like, okay, college is over. I'm super locked in the NBA now. Not that I was watching much college basketball,
I was
but
gonna say, were you watching much college
yeah. But
basketball?
I
Because we
think
have
I'm
one.
more like I like that the attention is now on the NBA, fully on the NBA.
Absolutely great. And we have 1 week of the NBA season, which it kind of it sucks that it ends right now because some of the NBA teams, like the one of the teams we'll talk about, the Thunder, and then like the Celtics and the Cavs, they really don't have much to play for. So like the best
Hmm.
teams don't have much to play for. However, there is still some battles of like seeding from 3 through 6 in the East. I mean, heck, 3 through 9 in the West, and it is up for grabs everywhere. And I am we'll get to our 4 teams here in a second, but I did have one question for you before we get into it. Like, what has been one team when you've gone back and watched over the past few weeks that you've enjoyed watching more than anyone, or has it just been one of these 4 teams?
Well, it's one of my 4 teams I have. Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah. So, do you want me to spoil that, or it
let's do
is
it.
the
Let's
first
do
team I
it.
want to talk about? So, okay,
All right,
Golden
let's
State
do it then.
Warriors. Yeah, the Golden State
Okay,
Warriors. I'm like, the more I'm watching them, I'm like, okay, there might be some magic back here. Like, there might be
yeah,
this might be a team that can actually make some noise. Like I went from like, oh, this is fun. Jimmy actually gives them a fighting chance, and Steph is always great, and Draymond's had a resurgence. Back half of the year. That's awesome. Love watching these guys and have loved watching them play for 12 years now. But they're not a serious team. It was like, but then the more I watched them recently, I was like, you know what? Then I watched the Lakers game, and I'm like,
hmm
okay, like there may be something here, like there
yeah,
may be an actual, like, I don't know about contender because Oklahoma City is just so good, but like they could make a conference finals run, and like how fun would that be for these guys to have like another little run like that, 3 years on from their last championship, and seriously being in contention. 2023 they make the second round, and then
right.
last year obviously, yeah, it's just not even in it. So no, incredible, like but they've actually still like somehow like have a team that's capable of like potentially making a run. And they are my first team of our 14 bucket that I want to talk about. So we can get into them.
Yeah, I will. I'll say my first thoughts on this Warriors team because the 2 favorite games I watched this past week was probably that Warriors Lakers game and then the Rockets Warriors game, which you're also doing the Rockets later.
Right.
Just 2 insanely fun games, one win, one loss, but it's just they their style of play is just so different than like a lot of these teams in the West because they are a small physical team and then they just have Steph going around and shooting everything. Like what was it? 50 he had like 51 like this past like or a week or two ago or something like that. He's
Yeah,
been
against Memphis,
incredible.
52 against Memphis. Yeah.
Thank you. 52. Yeah. They've been playing tough basketball. They've had to play basically playoff basketball in every game Jimmy's been there. Podzimski has been really well, played really well. Um, this team is just, they are really fun. So why don't you dig into it? Why don't you go into it? We'll talk about them a little bit more. But this, I will agree, they have been a lot of fun to watch. My other team that I'd also say, which we've already discussed, is the Indiana Pacers, and
Yeah. Well, I
I
love the
can't.
Panthers.
I
Yeah.
cannot stop watching them now, especially
Yeah.
since I have the FanDuel Sports Network, which I have no excuses not to watch them now.
Yeah, Pacers are so fun.
Yeah,
Okay, so the Golden State Warriors. I mean, you talked about it. They're a physical, kind of gritty team. They're seventh in defensive rating, 15th in offensive rating. So not really where those kind of golden era,
right.
the kind of 2015 to 2019 run was, where it was just like the supernova offense. Now they always had really good defenses. But their also offense was also kind of like a huge
Yeah,
part of it. There were years where they were second or third in each thing, but this year it's 15th in offense, 7th in defense, 16th in pace, which is also lower than it used to be. 46 and 32, 6th in the West, but there are 3 other teams who are 46 and 32, so they could easily be third of the West. And there's obviously the Lakers with just that one little half game lead over the others. It's going to be nuts down the stretch here. I mean, we have 5 teams in contention for 3 through 8. Houston's going to be 2 unless there's like just a major disaster from them in the last week
yeah,
of the season. And then Oklahoma City's the only one who's actually locked up their playoff seed. They're the only team in the NBA who's actually locked up exactly what seed they're going to be. They'll be the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. But Yeah, they can finish anywhere from 3 to 8s. 23 players have played for the Warriors this year. 23 players
Crazy. That's a
due to
crazy.
two-way stuff and all the injuries, but that is a great, like, there are years where the championship winning team has like 12 guys that play for their team. Like
Mhm.
it's, I mean, if you go way back, there's some that have like 10, but 23 players have played at least a game for the Golden State Warriors this year. There's only one guy who's played in every game though. Who is it?
I only know this because I think they said it on the broadcast either for the
I think
Houston
they
or
did.
the,
Yeah,
and
I
it's
think I
Buddy
heard this.
Hield. It's
Yeah,
Buddy
it is
Hield.
Buddy Hield. Yeah,
Yeah,
Buddy Hield.
and
All 78.
um, you know what? Buddy Hield, what a rebound year after like being benched basically by the
Yeah.
Sixers. Um, he's still coming off the bench. He's still only 42% from the field, but he's a nice 37 from three, and he gives him 11 points. Like he does his job. He does provide like the score like a I won't even say tertiary scoring option, but just like a option, just throw up shots. Um,
Well, just
there
spacing
is
when he's out there. I mean, like because people know he can shoot, so they guard him as if he's a really good shooter, which he still is. And yeah,
yeah,
that gives spacing to the other guys.
this team is the definition of just Steph centric. Everything revolves around Steph on offense. And Jimmy's given him a little bit of like alleviates some of that. It's not like he's looking to score as much, especially not right now. And I think he's still trying to work his like feel the flow of the offense, and he does a good job of. He and Draymond have done a great job of making sure everyone either gets touches or everyone is just like feels involved in the offense. Um, and I think that's what's been most impressive is just this addition of Jimmy has given Steph a little bit time off the ball, but also just like gives them another option of like, hey, here's where the start of the offense can. This is another option of where the offense can start from.
Yeah,
And I
he
think
also doesn't
Jimmy
he also
is
doesn't turn it over, which is huge for the Warriors, who's like a super high turnover team over the last 10 years. So it's a guy who can get to the free throw line, which they don't do very much, and
he
a guy who
averages the
doesn't turn it
most free
over.
throws. He averages the
Yeah,
most free throws on the team by a wide margin.
yeah,
He's at
and they needed that.
seven. Yeah, he's at seven a game, and then the next is Steph with four a game,
Yeah,
four attempts, and so um, it's kind of crazy. And he's already averaging the most steals on this team, which is a little over a steal and a half. But uh,
yeah, and I
getting
have that
set
note. Obviously, I mean, since the Jimmy Butler trade, they're 20-6. I mean, that's crazy.
crazy, crazy, Adam. And so that's the thing. Like those Miami teams were. I mean, not that Bam's small, but he's a smaller big. They've been
Hmm.
he hasn't played with a regular, not regular size, a taller sized big since Philly, and so it's been some time, and so he knows what it takes to like fight it out on these on these smaller teams, and so Post is out there every now and then, Looney's out there every now and then, but it's mostly Draymond, and it's mostly like Kaminga, and it's just like these bigger wings who can play fast, who can play physical, and who are just downhill guys mostly. Now, Draymond also is shooting. I mean, shooting a little bit more threes than he has in past years, and not terribly. No, I take it back. Pretty terribly, 31%. I take it back. But just like I still think about like I still think about that first championship year when he was like, it felt like he wasn't missing from three, Draymond.
Yeah, and then
And
2016, he shot 40%.
yeah, so it's just, he's in just the downgrade from three he's had since then. But they're, they are a fun team. They're a very fun team. They're a small team, but I think Butler's experience playing on smaller teams and kind of being the four slash like one of those basically the power small ball power forward for those teams in Miami has been a great help to know how to handle it, especially here in Golden State.
Yeah, I admit that was like kind of the biggest note I made. It was like, can they ride out this small lineup and actually make a run with this, the Kaminga? I mean, obviously, we know it's going to be Draymond, Jimmy, and Steph on the floor, and like kind of who do they mix and match it with? Is it GP2? Is it
Yeah.
Buddy Hield? Is it Kaminga? Who else? Like against different matchups, I might be different guys, but I want to reference this Marcus Thompson piece that was on the Athletic. think it was on Friday that he posted it. It was in the aftermath of the Lakers win in LA on Thursday night, and it's like he said, "Look, this locker room, they now believe. Like it's not like
Mm-hmm.
early in the season, Steph even made comments like, "Look, it's not going to be like championship every year, and like I understand that here, and that's not always the goal." But he said that tone has changed dramatically since then. And this is a team that Steph in particular, he believes they actually have enough to make a run. And he said that was kind of the first step. Is like let's at least like get that. Okay, now let's actually try to go do it. So that was the really interesting thing. Kind of a report from the locker room where it's like they genuinely. It wasn't just because of that game. It's obviously because they played incredibly well since they've gotten Jimmy. Yeah, 20-6. But
Right.
I think that game was like the thing that crystallized it. Like, okay, this is a team that's kind of beat us up in the past. We just beat them at their place in a game that they needed too.
Yeah.
And I thought that game, Luka, yeah, that was a strange Luka game, but that would be a very fun series. I mean, it could happen in the first round. I mean, if seeding plays out a certain way, it could be the 3-6. It could easily be. Right now. It is the 3-6.
Right. So here's what I'll start with. I think Jimmy is the perfect kind of defender to guard Luka. Not to
Yeah,
stop Luka, but like just to guard him. I mean, because no one can stop Luka realistically. And also just with how often teams switch, it's not like Jimmy's going to just be on him 24/7 anyways. But I think he's like the perfect size and just like type of defender to guard Luka. Um, Secondly, I I totally agree. There is a feel to this team. The Warriors are always going to be the demon in my back pocket of 22 and like just be the like truthfully the surprise team that we're like, oh, this is the Warriors again, and I'm not
yeah,
ready for that. And
yeah.
and I need to text my Warriors buddies just more about this. Like Cole Steckline, I need to text you just to figure out like how you're actually feeling about this team. Like where are you on them? So I expect a text actually after this. But this has been a super fun team. Just to, like they're a phenomenal late night watch, and
They are.
especially this week, I I have to be locked in just to what's going on in the West because I'll start here. Like, do you think because
I was gonna say who would we actually pick them against? Like because they're gonna play one of those teams in that bracket because they can't fall. They're not gonna fall below 6, and they can't get up to 2. So they're gonna play one of those teams in that 3 to 6 range. So which is gonna be Denver, L.A., Minnesota, or Memphis
they can beat Memphis? They've shown that
for
so
sure.
many times.
For sure.
Minnesota is such a strange
Yeah, I
matchup,
don't. I
and
don't feel great about that matchup for them.
no, because Minnesota, their wing defenders get up for like matchups like Steph, and
And
I
so does
kind of
Houston's.
yeah, but I feel like I trust. I hate this,
Golden.
and
No, I trust Golden State so much more than Houston in a playoffs here.
well, and that's the thing. Like, and
Even though Houston beat them
I
yesterday.
yeah, that's the difference. I think there's a little bit of not tired because like Houston played LA earlier in the week. They had an easier game later, but I don't know. I think there's this like fatigue of coming off a Lakers game and then going to play Houston if you're the Golden State. Anyways, not the point though. I would still choose Golden State over Houston. One, just because of playoff experience, which I hate that argument, and so does some of our favorite podcasters. They hate that argument, and I don't blame them. Like, when our team is supposed to like show up, just like not have to go through anything.
Yeah.
But I think Golden State can beat Houston. I think Draymond just pisses off Şengün one too many times in that series, and it's super fun. Um, I I think they could probably beat the Denver Nuggets, and that's what sucks.
I think they could too. I mean, they obviously have no chance to stop Jokic, but that's fine. I mean, they have tools for everybody else,
Mhm.
and more interesting lineups they can play. I mean, Oklahoma. I mean, we also don't know if Jamal Murray's going to play for Denver. I mean, that
That's the
obviously,
thing.
yeah, would
That's the
totally
thing.
change that matchup. So no, I
Uh,
think I think Minnesota. I think is the toughest matchup for them of that group.
I was gonna say the Clippers. I think the
Well, they
Clippers,
can't play them because they
but they
can't get up to
could.
2.
But the Clippers could get up to 3.
Yeah, that'd be really difficult because the
It's only
Clippers
2
are in.
games.
Oh, I guess that's true. I guess if
They're,
okay,
they're,
yeah,
they're part of that. They're part of that
yeah, no, yeah,
46-32.
they're the 5th team in that. Yeah, no, you're right, right. Yeah,
So
yeah,
I think that would be they're the team in my head
Yeah, Clippers would be
that
tough. Yeah,
that would be very tough. Just because, again, it's
if
I
Kawhi's
think
playing.
Zubac provides a size issue for them rebounding
Rebounding. Yeah, for
and
sure.
defensive anchoring, and then also Kawhi, man. I don't know. If
Yeah.
Kawhi's playing, it's a total game changer.
Yeah.
And also, just proud to report that James Harden has cracked the 40% mark on his field goal percentage. We've reached it. Proud of him. Um, this team and that team is just weirdly got guys that I'm like, okay, in a playoff setting, trust like 8 of you like to go out there and play in these moments. So they're an interesting team too. I would probably choose the Clippers over, or that would be a tough matchup for them too, just because of how good defensively the Clippers are. I think they're third in defensive rating in the West, or maybe in the league. I think it's just the West though. But
Yeah, that'd
they're
be a tough
also
matchup. That's a tough matchup.
so
But
yeah. But I do love this Warriors team. We've said it
yeah.
14,000 times, but I love watching them. Anything else on the Warriors?
No, we can move on to
Okay.
one of yours.
Let's do the team that we think would be the toughest matchup for them in the Minnesota Timberwolves, who have also kind of been streaking in the right direction. They started
Definitely.
slow just after the Randall trade, and we kind of had. I think I had a higher expectation than you did, just because I thought they were going to be an immediate contender still. We both liked the DiVincenzo addition, and while he started slow, he's brought it back on. He's come back on as of recently. Randall's looked a lot better recently. Gobert has looked insane like the past 6 games. And I cannot for the life of me understand how Anthony Edwards has been this ridiculous this year. He's been incredible this year.
Yeah, he has.
Top 5 non-Celtic to watch this year for me. And so and it annoys me because he also just gets up for Celtics games, and I cannot stand him when he plays against the Celtics. But super fun. This team is currently, I think they're seventh in the West, 46-32. They are not shocking, but like in the bottom third in pace. They are such a slow team, and then 10th on offensive rating, 6th in defensive rating. So that's gone up recently. Because last time I checked, I think they were 8th or 9th, and they have been in so many tight games. It feels like, especially recently, and they had the double overtime game against Denver. Duh.
Yeah, I said we haven't even talked. That game was nuts. We haven't even talked about that because we recorded, I think, the day before that, right?
I think you're either. Yeah, I think you're right. And Anthony Edwards started slow in that game, and he came on in like the fourth and overtime, in the double overtime, in the 2 overtimes. But
and he hit some crazy shots in that game.
But the thing about this team is like they were like, "Hey, Jokic, take all you want. We're gonna just defend everyone else." And I think that's their greatest superpower is the fact that they have the wings to guard anyone. Gobert still is a very good defensive anchor.
Yep.
Jokic just loves going right at his ass every time. But I think there is a intensity that we saw in the playoffs last year against the Suns, against the Nuggets, that the wings on this Minnesota team can just go to another level defensively, especially in the matchups that they like. So man, whether it's McDaniels, whether it's Alexander Walker, whether it's Anthony Edwards, heck, even Conley, like when he has like 5-minute spurts of games when he can just step up on defense. And DiVincenzo's not a bad defender either. But they have wing defenders who I'm like, you all are dogs, and I can trust you out there on defensive end. And so they've been a really fun team.
They have. They've won 14 out of 17. They have been streaking there on a roll. They are not a team I would want to play in the playoffs. So if I'm a bunch of these guys, it's like that would be the last. Like, oh my gosh, of this whole crew. Like if you're Houston to me, I would be like, I do not want to play them. Like And I asked a bunch of my Houston Rockets like friends, like, hey, who do you not play? And they're kind of mixed on Minnesota. None of them want to play the Clippers or the Warriors because they're just like the Warriors. They just have like a hex against, so they don't want to do
Mm-hmm.
that for almost even like not even for basketball reasons. It's just like I'm just sick and tired of like losing to them in the playoffs from
Yeah.
all the Harden era stuff. But and then I think it's just like they'd rather see a new matchup. And then the Clippers, obviously the James Harden thing coming back to Houston with a healthy Kawhi, and it's like, oh yeah, that could be really tricky. But I think Minnesota would be a terrible matchup for them. So wouldn't love that at all. But no, they've really found themselves. And I think the one thing against Denver that hurts them is because Gobert still is a phenomenal help defender. But last year they were able to put Towns on
Mm-hmm.
Jokic and then have Gobert as a help defender. They don't have a guy that can do that this year. Obviously trading Towns away, and you get a Randall, and a Randall's just not the same size and physicality of
No.
a Karl Anthony Towns defensively. So whereas Towns is almost like worse as a help defender. Like as you see him now trying to do that, what
Yeah.
Gobert does, right? He
Yeah.
cannot do it in New York. So but on ball he actually was really good guarding Towns. So I mean I guarded Jokic. So yeah, I'm going to be very intrigued to see. It's so hard to talk about some of these teams without knowing what the matchup is going to be because like they could play any of these teams. So it's like, oh, well, if we kind of knew what it was going to be, we could go a little more in depth. But this Minnesota team, I think, is very scary. And like certainly, boys, if they stay in the 2-3 or 6-7 brackets, I think they can go to the conference finals. I don't think they can beat Oklahoma City though. So I think they'd lose in the second round if they're in the 4-5.
So here's the thing. I don't think they could go. I think they could go the distance with Oklahoma City. I think there would be enough
Oh yeah, it'd be a
bitching.
tough series. Yeah,
I think there'd be enough bitching from Chris Finch after games about the SGA stuff. Now it's
mm.
SGA's kind of take. It seems like he's taking the little step off the pedal a little bit, just because he's like, I want to save a little bit of my energy. Because what was it last night against the Lakers? It was the first time since 21 he hasn't shot a free throw.
yeah,
Uh, and then he shot 2 free throws the game before. So
yeah. That's also really good game plan discipline from the Lakers. Like I mean, that's clearly like keep this guy off the line. Like that's and they did it.
yeah, so I think there could be, and I know there's a different level of intensity, and there's sometimes people like to make it a little bit of a difference. They're like, oh, they swallow their whistles a little more in the
Yeah,
playoffs. I'm like, that's a little overblown. They do sometimes.
it's different, but it's not like demonstrably different.
No,
The
no,
biggest difference is the players are playing harder the whole time. But I
that's
don't think it's officiated that differently.
that's very true. I think teams are a little bit maybe more a little more physical,
Yes,
or a little bit like you're right.
and a little more game plan like centric. It's like yeah, just random regular season game. We're not throwing all of our game plan stuff at this dude, but in a series we are.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I think Minnesota can do very well against Oklahoma City because they've played Oklahoma City very well this year.
They have. They
Um,
have.
and so, my mind, I'm like, okay, there is a possibility that they could beat
Oh,
Oklahoma
certainly,
City
certainly a
if
possibility. Minnesota could win
if
the
they,
championship. I actually think like there's a scenario where they could win the title.
oh wow, okay,
Yeah,
I
they
was just gonna say,
can. Like they're capable
oh
of it.
yes, they
Like
can.
to me, but I mean,
It would
but
have
not
to
the
be
same way
no.
that like every playoff team is capable of it. I mean, like they actually have like a recipe for it. Like I don't think the Houston Rockets can win the championship. They can win a round. They could maybe win two, but the Minnesota Timberwolves could actually like win the title. I actually think they have that much to them.
Okay,
They also could lose, they
so
also could lose in the first round.
all right then. Let's. I'm gonna get into this. Do you think they can beat both Cleveland and Boston?
They can, yes.
Damn it. All right. Well, that hurts my brain.
I don't think they would. I would pick Cleveland or Boston,
That's good to know.
but I think they can. Yes. Yes.
No, I was gonna say like I think the only East team that like I consider like a smidge of a percentage that to make the finals in the New York Knicks, like that would be like the one team I'm like, yeah, you're for sure beating them.
Yeah.
Like, and that
But you
would
see
be
what I'm saying? It's not like
no,
I
yeah,
think they're going to win the championship. It's like
they have the capability.
a team needs a certain thing, like certain things. They need like a good defense and number one scorer who's like done it in the playoffs before, who actually knows how to. They clearly have that. So it's like they have all the pieces to actually win the title. Like the
Right.
Pacers do not. The Pacers do not. I love the Pacers,
Well,
but they don't. Yeah,
no, I
the
no,
The
I
Bucks
don't.
do not. The Bucks do not. You know what I mean? Like
Not anymore. No, they do not.
yeah, not anymore. I mean, with Dame out, they just simply just don't. Like and the Pistons, what a fun story, but they do not have like
No,
what it
they
takes.
have the
So,
number one guy,
yeah.
but they're missing. They're missing the self control to not go punch people.
Yeah. and just like the wing depth and the I
well,
mean the defensive anchor that Gobert is. I mean they're missing a bunch of things, but
so
as much as I like him,
yeah, okay, this is a fun topic. Well I'll need to do.
So
the
maybe there's like 6 teams that can.
Okay, so let's do it. Let's do the number then. So I have Boston and Cleveland in the East, so the only two in the East.
No question. Yeah, no question. Both of them.
Do you think New York?
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
No.
I don't because I think they are going to get hurt, and I hate saying that.
The depth is just killer for them. I mean,
absolutely. Okay, so that's 2. So then Oklahoma City for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. The Lakers?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, I agree with you, and it hurts and it pains me, and I'm also mentally preparing for the fact that we might get a Boston LA title game, especially while Celtic City is coming out. I think Bill Simmons has planned this, and it's in the NBA's like, let's promote this like hell. Okay, LA Nuggets if Jamal Murray is healthy.
Yeah, if he's not healthy, then no chance. Yeah.
Man, I have.
We've seen what happens when you rely on Russell Westbrook and
son of a bitch. That was.
Oh my gosh,
I love you, but your favorite player of all time is just ruining it.
Rough.
Okay, so that's 5. Clippers?
No.
Oh, see, that's the one I'm on.
No.
See, I think the Clippers
have so much evidence of Harden just shitting the bed in the playoffs. I mean, just so much evidence. Like, maybe this is the year, but I don't know. Like,
I
don't know.
Can I counterpoint? They probably have the best home court advantage, not named Oklahoma City or Boston.
City, I would say, yeah.
Oklahoma City and Boston.
1, I think clearly. I think Boston's probably clearly number 2.
And that's what I'm saying. We go, and number 3 is probably the Clippers with this new arena.
And number 30 is Houston. Sorry, Houston guys, but it's crazy. Like that place should be
I have one worse
every night, and it's not.
I have one worse.
There are worse. I'm just joking.
I know, but New Orleans, you were there, and that
Washington is terrible.
No, our boy Carl Baltimore will explain the fact that Washington's better than New Orleans.
Oh, I agree with that. I went to a playoff game in New Orleans last year, and I just sat wherever I wanted, and there was just empty seats everywhere. It was a playoff game. It was crazy. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sorry. Back on track here. So I'm considering the Clippers.
Okay.
And I hate it. So I have 6. Golden State. I think they have Western Conference Finals winner and maybe making the finals, but I don't think they can win it.
Yeah, I don't think they have quite enough to win it. No, I don't either.
See, we say that. Now I know they're gonna just run through the West.
But I don't. They I mean, they need a random think about how good Andrew Wiggins was in the playoffs in 2020.
I'm remembering.
You don't have to. Yeah. So it's like Jimmy's obviously better than Andrew Wiggins, but Andrew Wiggins played really well in that run, and they still have Klay Thompson playing at a decent level. And they don't really have Buddy Hill is not. Buddy Hill right now is not as good as Klay Thompson was 3 years ago.
Kevon Looney was also
was better 3 years ago.
10 and 20 during those playoff series. All right, Minnesota.
Yes.
Said yes. All right, and then I'm not even going to talk about Memphis. So we both have. You have 6, and I have 7.
Yeah.
That's crazy because I don't think we've had that for a long time.
No, we have not. We have not.
I say that maybe we did last year if we were considering this last year.
No, I thought Boston was a significant favorite last year.
That's fair.
I thought Boston had to get injured to not win the championship last year.
What they did, and they still won.
Yeah. No, that's not even to say Boston's taking a step back. I mean, there's just a bunch of teams who've gotten really good. I mean, Cleveland has just significantly improved.
They're crazy. So we consider Minnesota we both think Minnesota can
win the championship. Yeah,
can. That's crazy. That is a crazy number. Their defense is just so good, and I will always come back to that. And I think you're right. There are certain matchups. Actually, no, it's just one matchup. It's just against Denver that they're we have no answer for Jokic. I think they have an answer for just about any other offense, though, and that's what's scary.
Especially in the West. There's enough kind of playmakers on the Cavs and Celtics that All right, that stretched them pretty badly.
Oh yeah,
Those two teams can also take advantage of Gobert more than some of the teams in the West can. I think,
yeah. I mean,
like KP.
oh
If
my
he's
gosh, yeah. I was
standing
gonna
30
say
feet out, what is Gobert going to do? I mean, him and Horford.
KP.
I mean,
They don't throw
Horford's.
Gobert on KP. That's the thing, though. They throw like
I
Randall.
mean,
They
then
throw
who?
they
Who
throw
would he go?
Gobert on Holiday. They throw Gobert on Holiday.
Yeah, they're going to have to. Yeah,
They've
yeah,
shown that before. They've shown that card, and then in Cleveland, I'm like, you're gonna throw him on Struess? That sounds like hell. You probably have to throw him on Allen.
it'll be Allen. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's such an interesting.
yeah.
That's a matchup that would be very
Cleveland,
fun.
Minnesota. What a crazy finals that
Wow,
would be.
talk about small markets.
Yeah,
But that'd be a lot of fun. Okay, I'm done with Minnesota, but I'm glad we
yeah,
went through that exercise of fun teams
yeah. That was
that we
good.
want to.
Yeah.
All right.
The
We've
Houston
talked
Rockets.
about the Houston Rockets, who we've clearly said,
Yeah,
"I'm sorry, Houston buddies, they're not winning. We don't think they can win the title." So, but
no,
another team, super fun to watch, and they also had a great game against the Lakers earlier in the week, and then they went on to beat the Warriors this past weekend, and so they. What are they? 15-2 in their last 17. Is that
they are.
what the record?
Yep.
Oh my gosh, yeah, they're
Yep,
ridiculous.
they've had a couple long streaks. They had a strange losing streak too. But yeah, they're 52-27 overall, second in the West. And again, it'd be a disaster for them not to get it. They've got a 3-game lead in the loss column now over the Lakers,
Mm-hmm.
so they will be with 4 games to go. So yeah, they will be the 2 seed. Well, they actually only have 3 games left, but they will be the 2 seed. So the defense, especially on the wings, is phenomenal. They're very similar to Minnesota, just a ton of different guys they can throw at you. Super deep
Mm-hmm.
team. They have one player who's played in every game. Can you guess who that is? He's the only guy who's played in this many games this year, 79 games. Only guy in the league.
It's not Thompson.
Nope.
Shoot, it's Jalen Green.
Jalen Green. Bingo.
Yeah.
Jalen Green has played in all 79 games.
Wait, have they?
First guy
Are
to
they the only team
79
at
this year.
79 games?
No, there's other teams, but I don't think they have a player who's played 79 games.
Oh,
Yeah.
fun.
Now there will be as teams get to game 79.
No, I
Tomorrow,
know. Yeah,
Wednesday.
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I didn't realize
as
they
of
were
now,
going to.
yeah.
Okay.
He's the league leader in games played. So, in general, though, this team has had pretty good injury luck. They actually have had
They have.
most of their guys most of the season, which is a huge reason why they've been able to kind of sustain this. They're 12th in offensive rating, 3rd in defensive rating. Like you talked about, the defense is excellent. 18th in pace, kind of middle of the pack, which makes sense because they have lineups that play quick, and then they have lineups that got to play through Şengün. So, which obviously a little more post oriented. So yeah, they've been awesome. Şengün and Jalen Green are 2 top scorers, but they then have 5 players averaging between 12 and 14 points a game. Which is a really unique. That's very odd. I kind of look through some other teams, and that's just, you do not really see that. And obviously, again, like you said, the 2 big scores. Can you guess the 5 players that are in between 12 and 14 points a game?
All right. So Jalen and Şengün.
Yeah, they're at like 21 and 19 each. Yeah.
Van Vliet,
Yep.
Dylan Brooks, and then Thompson.
Yeah. So Dylan Brooks is technically 3rd, and Van Vliet, they both average 14.1.
Okay.
And then who'd you say? Amen Thompson.
Yeah.
He's at 14 exactly, and then you have 2 guys right around 12.
So Tari Eason has to be on that, right?
He's at 12 even.
This is where I don't remember who would this be. Jabari?
You know. Yep, Jabari Smith.
Oh, okay, cool. Well,
Yeah.
I see. My one worry was I didn't know if you're. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. We're not doing games played. We're just talking about scoring. Yeah, but
Yeah, scoring. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
the underrated. The underrated part of this team is just the fact that they have had like Jabari was like the one injury this season.
Yeah.
It felt like, and Tari was in and out
Tari's
of the
missed some
lineup.
games. Yeah, Tari's missed about 20 games, 24 games actually.
But
Jabari Smith has missed 22.
again, this team is just you said it earlier, a team that has so many wing defenders that like it's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
They can throw lineups out at the end of games when you're like, I don't know how the other team's going to score. That being said, I then don't know how the Rockets are going to score in those lineups. But if it's not Şengün, but I say all that to say I think this team is just a totally another level defensively. And welcome to the Ime Udoka Fest in Houston.
Yeah, and they got the number 3 pick in the draft last year, and he doesn't play. Like, I mean, he's just not even in the rotation, doesn't play. Cam Whitmore has shown some real signs. He doesn't really play. The guy who's come on big time lately is your brother's boy, Steven Adams.
My brothers play alike. Steven
Yeah, he
Adams.
has been awesome. Like Steven Adams has been great. They play in the double big lineup with him and Şengün sometimes. I mean, he looks really good. He's the oldest player on this team by like a
Mhm.
distance. So I'll get. Oh, Fred's also 30. And then Steven Adams
Right.
is 31. But
And
yeah,
Brooks is
no,
29.
Brooks is 29. That's true. Yeah, but
But sure. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
yeah. It's just like he seems like he's been in the league, forever. But here he is. No, he has been awesome lately. He's moving like much like smoother than he has in years past. Like he looks healthy. He's kind
Mhm.
of playing a slightly different style, but he's still Steven Adams. He's still so big, and he's just like causes all kinds of problems out there, defensively, offensively. Really smart player. What a cool career he's had.
I think my favorite time outside of Oklahoma City was his like half a year in Memphis, and like
Yes,
when they were so fun.
just
Um,
bashing people. Yeah,
that's that's the thing. I missed that version of Steven Adams, but this Steven Adams, he's still got the little floater. It's just money, and I I never whenever he's out there, I'm like, yeah, he's gonna get at least 3 offensive rebounds. Like it feels like it every time. And I think one of my favorite stats, if I'm remembering correctly, I feel like in most seasons he's averaged more offensive rebounds than he has defensive rebounds. And I'm looking this up now because he's had so many years. Or it was okay. So yeah, in 2017-18 he averaged more offense, and same in 18-19. Okay, maybe it was just those 2 years. But still, it felt like there were multiple seasons when he just was crazy good at offensive rebound. This year, he's doing the same thing, averaging more offensive rebounds than his defensive rebounds by point 0.1, but still, it's more.
yeah. And if you
He's
ever
fun.
want an interesting, just on the Steven Adams note, if you ever want an interesting, I don't know, just a little deep dive on an interesting character, look up Sid Adams, Steven Adams' dad. Fascinating human being, an absolutely fascinating human being. Just trust me. Just
Am I
look
about
him
to
up.
learn that he wrestled crocodiles or
I
something?
mean, no, but not far off. He's led quite the life. So
Okay,
yeah, we will. He's
okay.
no longer with us, unfortunately. But yeah, he is. He
Oh,
led quite the life at some point. But no, back to the actual basketball. So the depth for them will be key in the playoffs. They can definitely look aimless offensively sometimes. Though, like there are times where it's just like, man, like what
yeah.
exactly is the plan here? There's just kind of like Jalen Green shows and not, and then Jalen Green just like won't finish games. Like against the Lakers, the one I focused on.
Hmm.
He wasn't in the closing lineup, and at a time where they really needed kind of a shot maker and a guy who could kind of create some stuff. But I think Ime just didn't trust him. So yeah, in the playoffs, I mean, I asked some of my Rockets buddies, can you rank their possible opponents? They all had Memphis number one as a team they wanted to see the most, which was obvious. That makes sense.
Everyone wants to play Memphis right now.
Yes, and then there was basically like I guess give me Minnesota because I want to avoid the Harden coming back, and I also definitely want to avoid the Lakers, which they're not. They at this point now the Lakers thing it seems a little bit of a long shot to me for them to fall. That little like
Yeah.
one half game lead actually helps them quite a bit, the Lakers, but. Yeah, and then the Clippers. I mean, yeah, that would be a fascinating series. I'm kind of rooting for that personally. I think a 2-7 Clippers Rockets matchups would be hilarious.
That would be so much fun, honestly. Just like Harden back in Houston. Is there anyone else on Houston who was or on LA who was on Houston? Am I thinking?
Oh
Either
shoot,
way,
off the top of my head, no, yeah,
no, I can't think of anyone either. But either way, I think that would be just such a fun matchup. It'll be rough offensively, I feel like, but defensively, talk about some games that will not have either team hitting over 100 points. I could see that multiple times in that series. Um, Super fun though. I can see it.
yeah.
That'll be a lot. That'll be a blast. Um, okay, so you think? What do you think though? Like, who would be? We both think Memphis. Like, who else do you think
I
they
think they
would?
beat Memphis for sure.
I do think they'd beat Memphis.
Yeah.
What other teams do you think they could? Because this is the thing. Evan and I did this on our way to Memphis. We went through and we're like, okay, who do we actually think the Rockets could beat? We did this for every team in the top in the East and
If
West.
Jamal's not playing, they beat Denver.
I agree with that. If Jamal's not playing, they can beat Denver. They do the same thing that every team's been doing right now. Just say, hey, Jokic, go get yours.
Yeah, everybody
And
else will
then
take away. Yeah.
part of me wants to. Gosh, I keep going back and forth on the Golden State thing.
Yeah, that would be a hell of a series. Yeah,
That
that
would
would
be
be
such
so
a fun
fun.
series. Talk about Dylan Brooks and just yapping. Dylan Brooks versus Draymond Green. Dylan Brooks versus Jimmy Butler. Ime Udoka versus Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green.
Yeah.
I'm just picturing all this just going down. And also, it's not just Dylan Brooks. I mean, Rockets have so many guys who just talk.
Oh
And
yeah. No, and Ben Thompson is not a guy who's going to shy away from a scuffle.
he's
I mean,
not.
yeah,
Yeah, I was just say, and
yeah.
nor is Tari Eason. Tari Eason's
No,
also like a hidden top. I
Cam
mean,
Whitmore. No,
he's
they've got a few that'll be chomping at the bit to get at it. No, I think that'd be so fun. And they have a lot of guys who can throw at Steph. So I mean, as they
yeah,
showed
man.
yesterday, I mean, they kept him in check the
They
entire
have
first
young
half.
guys who I think could
Yeah,
jump at just any Jimmy Butler head fake.
yeah, true. Yeah, yeah. Jimmy could live at the line in that series, but no, that would be a fascinating series. That would be really fun. And we saw Ime kind of get into it, which Ime, awesome coach. I'm actually really glad there's like a coach kind of like him in the league. But there are times where I'm like, bro, like you're not a player anymore. Like it's a
Oh,
little bit, as someone who coaches, I'm like, there is kind of like a hey, like we're not playing anymore. Like we don't really get to do as much like of the talking, as we used to. Like as someone who did play and now coaches, obviously not at anywhere near the level that Ime Doka does, just high school level, but still, it's just like I don't know. There's a couple of times where I'm like, all right, bro, like I get it, you're going to bat for your guys, but it's a little weird to like directly go at players like that often. I kind of like it because it's like funny to watch, but there's a part of me that's like I actually think if I played for him, I'd be like, hey, like we're like we got it, I don't know. There's like a
I
he's
don't
like
know.
just
So
he's right on the line of to me.
I go back and forth on it because there's part of me that's like, you're right, going to bat for your players, very important, very cool.
Yep.
But you're right. I don't think we. I feel like the only other guy who did this was George Carl. I mean, I feel like the last guy to
Like
probably do it was
directly, yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Al Attles back in the day, way back in the day.
Well,
I mean,
sure,
he literally
sure.
fought a guy in a playoff game, in a finals game, and got thrown out. I mean, yeah,
Well, yeah, I know
yeah,
that one. But
yeah.
like, I don't think we haven't had many of these guys in NBA history, like on good teams. But I think George Carl was like the last one that would just go at like and call out guys. Now, I think the other thing that Udoka is so much different is like he's not like demonstrative in his like yelling or like
No,
he's very
it's kind
much
of like
like
menacing almost.
and trust me, I don't miss it. I don't miss that
Yeah,
part of it. It's and that's the thing that's like so. I mean, just similar between him and Joe Maz is they're very like Joe Maz is also just psycho. I mean, this man
yeah,
is just killing
yeah.
me.
He is.
But Ime was just a quiet man, and we also probably couldn't see the half things he was saying in Boston because he had a mask over his face or on
Yeah,
his chin. So I mean,
yeah,
this man just like Aaron always gave him so much crap because he couldn't seem to wear a mask correctly, and I
yeah,
can't disagree with him because it was pretty hilarious just watching him try to.
yeah. Also, like you know, uh, I mean, I guess we're not gonna
No, no,
really get
no.
into this,
We
but
can do it.
like
We can do it.
there are things players can go back at him for. You know what I mean? It's
Oh,
like
I'm well aware. Hey, way to screw it up with Neil Long, you
yeah, yeah. I'm like,
dumbass.
I mean, like, should this guy? I mean, yeah. Let's not forget. Just a couple
No,
short
no,
years
no.
ago.
We won't.
Yeah,
I have not forgotten. This
yeah.
man could have been still my head coach, and
Yeah, so I'm like, I don't know. It's just like it's like it's a lot of talk for a guy who doesn't play anymore. Like a player's not gonna like actually physically fight a coach. Like that's not like do you
well,
remember that time when Jimmy Butler and Spoelstra? I guess yeah, maybe they will. Jimmy Butler and Spoelstra when he was still coaching, and they kind of got into it. And Spoelstra looked at him and goes, "Wait, you want to fight? Like, are you kidding me?" Like looked at
I
him like,
know,
"Come on, dude!" Like,
and
and
he's
that kind of
chuckling
like
at him, but
yeah,
still,
exactly. He's like laughing. That's like almost like that makes more sense to me because like seriously, like like you're gonna fight the coach? Like that's absurd,
I
But
mean,
but I almost think that
talk about
email is
George
like
Carl
yeah,
again. I was
like
gonna say
try
George
me,
Carl
yeah,
again, and did this almost with Carmelo. It felt like,
yeah, yeah.
or
No,
Boogie,
Carl's a good shout. And then obviously we had the Latrell Sprewell attacking, his coach. That wasn't really
PJ
a fight
Carlesimo.
situation. Yeah, PJ. Yeah, but a little
Poor
bit different
guy.
situation. But yeah,
Poor guy got like the whole like hand to the throat, and that man just
yeah.
he got the brunt end of Latrell Sprewell.
No, that's a crazy story. For anyone who doesn't know, look that one up. Latrell Sprewell, PJ Carlesimo. But anyway, that's the Houston Rockets.
What a way to end that. What a way to end
Yeah.
that one. All right. We'll end with the number one team in the Western Conference, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Well, not clearly, but they currently have the best record in the NBA. It's basically between them and Cleveland at this point. 64 and
Two-game lead
14.
on that now?
2-game lead, yes.
Yeah.
Fourth in points per game, second in opposing points per game, third in offensive rating, first in defensive rating, first in net rating,
Not a
which
bad
is
combo. There.
Not a bad combo. And also just like on a historic net rating combo. I mean,
Yeah.
net rating combo. Historic net rating right now. We thought they had the opportunity to go for 70 wins, but it's clear it's clear now that they just want to like hold the 1 seed and then just possibly the overall 1 seed and then just make the playoffs. They're ready to get in the playoffs at this point, it seems like. So
Yeah.
I this team is talk about depth, talk about flexibility and malleability and lineups. And yet I think there is still something up for grabs in the fact that they might be there might still be some question marks in my head about like rotations for this team. Like they on paper they have some great pieces, but we saw with the Lakers yesterday how they could attack Hartenstein, and with that, then they just go. They don't have like a great rebounder. Not that Chet's not a great rebounder, but then outside of Chet, it's like team rebounding, which they can do in certain situations. This team, I see very few flaws with this team, Adam.
Me too. Yeah.
And this team starts and ends with its best player in SGA, who is on track to be number 1 or number 2 in MVP voting this year. Dude, who would be your MVP? Is it him or Jokic?
I'm so torn on it. I really don't like either. I think either one is like a totally like awesome candidate.
Viable
Like,
option.
I mean, I guess if we're breaking the tie, we'll go with the team with the better record. But Jokic has been so ridiculous. It's his best season, and like to not give him the MVP during his best season is like seems just nuts. But Shea's been amazing, and the team is so good. And he is a huge reason why the team is good. They still win when he's out, from time to time, but they're not winning a playoff series. Obviously, even sniffing a playoff series win if he's not out. So, or if he's not out there. So, I mean, yeah, he's averaging just under 33 a game. He's been phenomenal. I mean, he's so good, so fun to watch. I love watching his craft. I mean, I think there's the free throw merchant thing. I think is way overblown.
Yep.
He does do a bit of that, but so does every great scorer. I mean, no question. So I think it just looks a little different because he's pretty skinny, so it just kind of looks a little bit more obvious than like when like a Jimmy Butler does it. But yeah, he's incredible. I love watching him play, and yeah, he's been super durable. He's great defensively. Like the team is amazing defensively. Like they buy in. They're so well coached. Every guy's prepared. Like you can't say enough about this team. I think. I actually wish they would have pushed for 70. I think that would have been really cool. But it would have required a big energy burst at the end of the season to kind of win. Like it would have ended it like almost like 20 straight to actually get to 70. I think.
Right. Yeah, it would have been tough. At least to even make it to 68 is like still up for grabs. Technically,
Yeah, very few teams in league history have done that.
Right. So just to like, they could do that. I guess technically they would have to win their last 4,
which they should go for. They play the Lakers at the Suns. That's a win. At the Jazz. That's a win. And at the Pelicans. That's a win. So they're going to win at least 3 of those.
Hopefully.
But even if they rest everybody, they're beating those teams at the end there.
Yeah.
Utah, and New Orleans. Yeah. Those are barely NBA teams right now. I mean, they're rest like nobody's playing for either of those teams. Like it's just like it's just a joke. But the Lakers won. That'll be interesting. That looks like that's tomorrow night. So
yeah. Then the Lakers have 2 crazy matchups to end the year with that, and then the Mavericks game in Dallas.
So fascinating.
The Thunder have 10 guys that they trust. They're another team, Adam, that what is this? 8 guys, 7 guys that are over double digits in scoring. With SGA, Jalen Williams, Dort, Hartenstein, Holmgren, and Aaron Wiggins, and then Isaiah Pornstar Joe. They then also trust Cason Wallace and Alex Caruso. And then for some reason, and I will never understand it, Evan's going to have to explain it to me, they also trust Kenrick Williams. And like, it's not that Kenrick's a bad player. He's just an undersized 4 who doesn't do much except
Kenny hustle.
Basically, he can rebound and defend sometimes. I can't understand him, but this team is a very deep team. They have a lot of guys that they trust. Heck, they have the other Jalen Williams that they're like, hey, if we need another big that we can throw out there, there you go. Um, yeah, I mean, it's a very good historic team. And my question to you, Adam, is what flaws do you think they do have?
I mean, not really any. Like I like there is very few. There may be some lineups that like lack just like a little bit of shooting. Like we saw Jalen Williams last year. Like the three kind of came and went.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing. Like in a very like knock them down, drag out playoff series where it's like you need like maybe just like a couple of like snipers. They maybe just like a hair short of that, but that's kind of it. I mean, they have any kind of defensive lineup you want to play, like they have it, and against any type of team. Now, as long as Chet and Hardenstein are healthy, because those two like unlock a lot of the stuff they do defensively. Obviously, along with the wings, but. Yeah, I don't, and then offensively, it's like they have an ultimate kind of trump card and Shea, but then also have these moments where they move the ball beautifully, and it's like just whip around passing. And there's times where Caruso kind of runs the show and gets everybody involved and pushes the pace a little bit. No, I like there are not really many flaws. You're nitpicking, I think, if you find some flaws. And then you have a guy in Lugan Dort who can guard like kind of anyone in the league. So I'm just like incredibly impressed with this team and how they're coached, how hard they play, how locked in they are. You look at the back half of their season, and they've lost to Minnesota twice. Right before the All Star break, and then a little bit after the All Star break. Obviously, they lost to the Lakers the other day. They've lost to the Nuggets, and they've lost to the Rockets. So they've lost to some good teams, and I think there is this sense in the league of hey, they need to prove it, before we like really crown them. But I don't know. I mean, just look. I mean, look at the record, look at the numbers, look at how they play. Watch them closely. I don't know. There's not a lot of flaws here.
They're beating the teams they should, and they're keeping games close against the teams that are also very good.
Yeah.
Outside of the Lakers game yesterday,
Yeah, or just beating them, I mean, they also have some big wins against some of these good teams.
absolutely. And so I think that's what's a blast about this team is that like we've seen them this season kind of prove it against the top tier teams in both the East and West. That being said, it is clear to me that when there's these good defensive teams who, like Minnesota, Houston's done it against them too, just really like, hey, we're gonna try to like make like double team SGA and then go 4-on-3, and can the Thunder just beat us? Can the Thunder just make shots? And we saw it against Houston, or we saw it against the Lakers. Sorry, that the Lakers were like, "Hey, we're just gonna make you have to like have other guys shoot," and then Lakers were making everything, and Oklahoma City wasn't making a thing. We've seen Minnesota did the same thing earlier this year against them, and it was the same situation. Like Jalen Williams, Isaiah Joe, Dort couldn't make a thing, while SGA was basically having to give up the ball, but also still had 38 points in that game against
Yeah,
Minnesota. So it's just there's some there's some nights when you're like, okay, what can we do outside of SGA? Evan and I were there for Game 1 of the Pelicans Thunder series last year. SGA started slow, came on, but like outside of him, like Jalen Williams was all right. Chet wasn't fantastic, and like they had to have um, just some like weird role minutes like go well. Aaron Wiggins has like some nights where he's throwing up 30, and that might be just like they might need one of those games this playoffs
yeah,
at least. Just
and
one
he's
game.
totally capable of that.
Absolutely agree. So that's the thing. Like in any championship team finals run, there's at least like in the wins that you have, there's at least 4 wins where it's like, hey, your star player stepped up, did his thing, and did that. You're gonna have like 3 games where one random role guy is gonna have to like go crazy. Like Celtics last year, they had Pritchard do it. Horford had a few of those, and then Holiday was just electric, especially in that Pacers series. Thinking about it in the Nuggets year, like Christian Brown was important to them. Bruce Brown had some,
Yeah,
uh,
huge games. Yeah, he did.
and
Aaron
so
Gordon had some
it's
big games. Yeah,
right, and so it's just like yeah, it was a lot of Jokic, it was a lot of Murray, but when you have these random role player games, you need that, and that's what they think the Thunder do have. They have the role
they have
players to
like a
have
bunch of dudes capable of that. Yeah,
right, and so it's like they have 3 guys alone where I'm like, you could go get 30 tonight. Like they have I mean, and they've seen it this year. We've had SGA, Jalen, and Aaron Wiggins all go get 40, or not 40. I don't know if Jalen Williams has got 40, but at least 30 in this season. And so I am very curious just to see how this team. I am very confident in this team having like role guys step up in a playoff run. And so can't wait to see that happen in this playoffs.
Oh, I'm so excited for them. I mean, I think they'll roll in their first round series. It'll be
not if it's Minnesota.
I was saying, depends on who it is. Yeah, I was gonna say that, and then it's like, I mean, I think the Clippers would give them. I mean, that Clippers Thunder game from a couple weeks ago was phenomenal. So, the Clippers would give them some problems. But like if they get a Memphis, and I mean, they just destroy them. But
or Sacramento.
I guess it's not. Well, yeah, that would be amazing if one of those two teams somehow upset somebody. Dallas, they get some revenge on last year. I think they would crush Dallas this year. Like that would be.
Oh,
I mean, I don't even think that those games would be close. They'd just be a 4-0 sweep, not even close games.
Yeah, I mean, it's only AD. And Clay. And Spencer Dinwiddie. But this team is built for a lot of different matchups, and I'm curious just to see how Dagnall is like, hey, Hardenstein, you're only playing 15 minutes tonight because teams are hunting you, like the Lakers did yesterday. They're like, hey, we can't be doing that. We're going to need to have Chet just be the only big out there, and we're going to go four guards, basically, it feels like. And
he's shown a willingness to do that, and the players all buy in. It's like, other than Shea, and Jalen, like everybody else, your minutes are not going to be guaranteed, I guess Dort generally plays.
I was just saying Dort might be the only other guy. Dort just has to be out there for defense.
Yeah. And he shot great. I mean, so.
That's the thing. Like, people are leaving Dort open. I'm like, that's stupid.
He's making him pay. Yeah.
He really is. Anything else on the Thunder?
No. Hype for them. Excited to see them in the playoffs.
As am I. We are going to be back next week. We're going to have a pod out Sunday evening after the final games are over, and we're going to break down just like the 6 playoff matchups. No, sorry. The 4 playoff matchups we do know, and then also the play-in games. It'll be us two and a special guest who we're still figuring out which of the 4 we had in mind who will join us. But that will still be fun. And then, so we'll be back next week with that. And then behind the scenes, just letting you all know, we've already started recording Anatomy of the Franchise Season 2.
Season 2.
Oh my gosh. And so we can't wait to start sharing that with you guys.
Yes.
And so we've started recording that, and it's going to be a blast. I am really excited for that. And then this week, 5 new movies will be added to our website. So whenever that is out, we will be posting those on our social media just to...
Yeah, that'll be kind of back half of the week. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So we'll have those all out for you guys just to go check out on our website. It'll be great. And then... Yeah, you have this podcast that you'll listen to. Thanks everyone for listening.
Year, man. Playoff time. Cannot wait. Love it.
Oh my gosh, it is the best because last week of this, and then Sunday there's 2 basically times where games are starting.
Yeah.
And
with how tight the standings are, the playoffs have basically started. I mean, these teams are now playing. They're playing for positioning. Every single game could mean a huge swing in different matchups and stuff like that. So the playoffs have begun already in the West.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. The East is all but set, except for like that 3 through 6.
Yeah, there's a little, some.
Unless Boston wins out and Cleveland loses out, and then we could have Boston take the 1 seed, which I would not.
I trust Cleveland to get one more win.
Son of a gun. But thanks everyone for listening. Go follow us on all our socials. Give us a follow on Spotify and give us a nice solid rating. We'd appreciate that. And then go follow, subscribe to our YouTube page and like this video, I guess. But thanks everyone for watching. Go Celtics, go Spurs, and then go all 4 of these teams. Honestly, go Warriors, Rockets, Timberwolves, and Thunder. Y'all are very fun this year, and I appreciate you.
We'll be watching a lot of all 4 of those teams in the next few weeks.
Darn right we will. Have a great one, y'all.